Hi guys, welcome to Investing with JYK, and today we'll just do a quick update on the Sears bond. So I talked about a Sears bond that matures in October 15th a while ago, and today is August 23rd, so you have 54 days, I think, before the whole thing matures. At the moment, you can see here it's trading at between $91 and $96. So, say it's 95 or 93. If it's 93, it's easier. So this thing has a 6.625% interest rate, and it pays half annually. So the next interest payment, which is due on maturity, is going to be like $3.3125, and the face value is going to be $100. So in total, you will be paid $103.3125, assuming Sears is able to make the payment. Now, that is actually a pretty good return. So if you look at, if we just compute the numbers, assuming we're looking at, say, 95. So 103.3125 minus 95, that's the amount of gain. And you divide it by 95, which is your percentage gain, which is like 8%. Now, if you do 1 plus that, that gives you the total return to the power of number of days, 54 divided by 365. That gives you, I'm missing one thing here, yeah. Oh, the other way around, sorry. Yeah, so you get about 76% annualized returns. If you get any cheaper, then it's a bit better. So imagine if you got it at, like, say, 93, then divided by 54. So then you're looking at about 103% annualized return. That's obviously, you have to consider tax, but that's pretty good return. So now Sears, as we all know, is probably going bankrupt at some point. So the question is, will they go bankrupt by the end of October? So I saw this thing here. There is, yeah. Sorry. So two things. So first of all, this is their last quarterly. So in their last quarterly, they mentioned this the old senior secured, which is, where is it? Old senior secured. I think it has 134. Yeah, $134 million they have to pay. So they don't have $134 million in cash. So how are they going to pay it? Either they borrow some money or they sell off some asset. So on August 14th, which is this guy, on August 14th, it's here. This is, yeah, August 14th, ESL, Eddie Lampert's hedge fund. So Eddie Lampert is the CEO of Sears. His hedge fund is the largest shareholder. I think it owns 49% or something. They own majority of the debt. And at this point, they are proposing to buy the Kenmore brand. So there's a appliance brand called Kenmore, which Sears owns, and Eddie Lampert is trying to buy this for $400 million without taking cash or debt. So leaving all the cash and debt to Sears, and he was willing to pay $400 million. So if Sears gets that $400 million, then obviously they can pay the $134 million in debt repayment by October. So I think the chance of default is very low, but it's not non-existent. You have to keep that in mind. So the only thing that's holding this thing up at the moment is the board. So the board has to approve it, because there's a bit of self-dealing here, because you have Eddie Lampert being the CEO and also the largest shareholder and also the largest debt holder is trying to sell part of Sears to himself. So, you know, there's something, there could be something unethical there, but I'm not saying there is, because I don't really know how much Kenmore is worth. Maybe he's paying a fair price, maybe he's underpaying, maybe he's overpaying, who knows. But that's for the board to decide. But in my opinion, if the board insists that Eddie Lampert does not get to buy this for $400 million, and then they actually run out of cash, then they enter Chapter 11, and all the equity guys will be wiped out because their stuff is worth essentially zero. In the case of Eddie Lampert, he doesn't care that much, because if the equity gets wiped out, whatever residual value that's left in the company, he has a bigger claim. So he probably doesn't really care if the company goes into Chapter 11 or not, because he would be the new shareholder, because he's currently the majority debt holder. He owns like more than 50% of the debt, I think. And on the other hand, he owns only 49% of the equity. So if the company actually wipes out the equity shareholders, then he actually end up with slightly more of the company. But in any case, he's proposing to buy Kenmore with cash. So I think from the board shouldn't. I can't see why they would reject it and run the risk of actually defaulting on the debt, because at that point, because board is supposed to be run for the benefit of the shareholders, and if the shareholders get wiped out in the Chapter 11, which they will, then how can you reconcile this with the goal of protecting the shareholders, guarding shareholders' value? I don't know. So I think the board should approve it. They probably will, and given that, then you get essentially almost like very quick money, about 10% quick money. And the other thing is, it's unfortunate this stuff doesn't show me all the stuff I want, but let's see. Sears Holding. Yeah, you can look at this, I suppose. There's no pricing. Sears Holdings 2018, 10, 15, 2010 is when it was issued. It's one of those guys. Oh, I need bond. So this one here, but this number is almost always off. And what else? Who else gives me pricing? Anyway, I remember there was a way to see it on Interactive Brokers, but I can't really see it. This is inverted though. This is yield, I think. It's one of those yields. So this price is off, but you can see that there is a sudden drop here. So you could have bought it here, and then your annualized return would be much, much higher. In fact, if we just do, yeah, so this was at 86, but there was one trade that actually ended up on 68. So if you just place some kind of limit order at $90 or $80, there is a chance they will get filled, because in the past this happens almost every month, I would say. Somebody will go crazy and sell at really low prices, and if you're able to snatch it up, the guy that got it at 68 is looking at a more, well, looking at a 50% gain already at the moment. It's just some stupid liquidity issues, and some people that are just really, really impatient. Yeah, so that's Sears, and it's an update. Mainly, the update is on can they pay, and what the price is at the moment, and the new development from their CEO that is now proposing to, I think this guy, yeah, they're proposing to buy part of the company for cash. So yeah, so that's it, and see you next time.